This podcast is made possible by funding from True Patriot Love Foundation.
Licensed group care may be what you as a parent are wanting, but may be extremely overwhelming for your child if they're very anxious or shy in large groups. So really know the temperament of your child first. Then move on to the different types of care. And because your child may be exhibiting signs of anxiety and you think it's the care provider, when really it's the environment.
The military lifestyle is all-encompassing.
It's difficult, but rewarding.
Dynamic. Very, very dynamic.
Unpredictable.
You are in the Canadian Armed Forces or a family member connected to the military. You know the lifestyle can be a challenge.
Military lifestyle is always changing.
In this podcast, we explore the world of deployments, postings, and transitions. This is the military lifestyle. Here's your host, John Shaboon.
It can be a challenge to find childcare in Greater Victoria. If you're a military family, you also have to find care that matches the lifestyle requirements. I talked with Lisa Yates and Erin Holler from the Child Care Resource and Referral about where to start and their perspective on this issue. So we're here talking about childcare, looking for childcare in Greater Victoria. I have two guests today, Lisa Yates and Erin Holler. Welcome to the Military Lifestyle.
Thank you. Thank you.
So going right into it, how do you go about finding childcare nowadays here in Victoria?
Well, the Victoria Child Care Resource and Referral Program is a free service to all families in the Greater Victoria area, and we cover from View Royal south towards downtown, and then we cover out towards Sydney and the Gulf Islands. So we're funded through the Ministry for Children and Families, and it's free for parents to contact us either through our website or by phone, or they can visit us in the office. And we're at 2001 Unit A Douglas Street, and we're open Monday to Friday from 8 till 4, except for Wednesdays we're open noon till 7. So families that work during the day are able to come in to see us in the evenings.
And yeah, the website is fabulous. I used it myself. I typed in my little criteria of what I was looking for, and it popped out this little report that it sent me, and it gave me a few options to start with. It was an amazing resource, and I didn't even contact a single person there.
That's fantastic. In the Sooke and West Shore area, it would be a phone call to either our West Shore number or our Sooke office, and or an email. You can find us on the website as well. And we have consultants in the office Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4:30.
So would you say that the CCRR is a good place to start if you're looking for care? Is that kind of like your stop number one?
Absolutely.
What are the different types of care that you can get? I know there's the licensed and unlicensed. And when I was looking, I was a little scared of unlicensed. I probably stuck more to the licensed.
On our referral list, whether you're Sooke, West Shore, or in Victoria, there are 3 types of care that we would refer you to. And that is the licensed group, licensed family, or registered license not required. So the licensed group and licensed family are overseen by childcare licensing officers, and the registered license not required are taken care of by the consultants with childcare resource and referral. And so we're the ones that go into the home and do inspections and such.
What is the state of wait lists in Victoria? Do you have an idea if we have a military family member who's looking for care in the area? Can you give them an average time or an idea of when to start registering for childcare? I guess the sooner the better. Is that how it works?
The sooner the better. It really varies based on type of care and the age of your child that you're looking for care for as to what a wait list might look like. So really, you would have to contact each individual care provider to see what their wait list looks like and what the procedure is to register to be on that wait list.
I know that with our MFRC, we've got a daycare located in Colwood, and I was talking to the children's services coordinator there. I said, so what are people looking at? And she said that they're looking at a minimum 18 months on the wait list, and sometimes as long as 3 years, which that blows my mind. So if you were, let's say, moving here from another part of the country, you might actually have to anticipate your posting message and maybe sign up the year before you actually get your posting message, before you sign up with our daycare, which again strikes me as a little bit insane. If you live here in the area, you might want to sign up before you've actually even conceived
Had the baby.
Yes, conceived the child. Which, I mean, that just strikes me as insane as well.
There are definitely times where we'll get a call from somebody who's just left the doctor's office and found out they're pregnant, to get a list for childcare and get their name on that wait list as soon as possible.
Have you heard from families that there's the struggle still here?
There's still a struggle. Like I said, from our program from View Royal towards the Gulf Islands, in licensed group childcare settings, which is probably the most popular type of care out there, because they're fully qualified with their early childhood education certificate, as well as somebody is on site with infant toddlers, which is an additional year of education. And it's a smaller ratio, so it's a 4-to-1 ratio. They have long wait lists. Some, like you discovered, can have a year to 18 months to 2 years to 3 years of a wait list. So somebody who is looking for care and needs care as soon as possible, they're not going to get it in a licensed group center.
Yeah, and the 12 to 18 month range is definitely, if your child is that age and you're looking for care, or even 18 months and younger.
Under 3.
Under 3? Oh my gosh. I mean, so under 18 months, this could be really difficult. From 18 months to 3 years, it could be mildly difficult, and then it gets better from 3 to 5. Is that how
It does.
It does.
The licensing regulations around adult to child ratio changes based on the ages of the children. So the older they get, the less adult required.
Yes, yeah.
In the West Shore and Sooke, there isn't as big a crisis. You don't have to be putting your name on wait lists before you even contemplate conceiving a child. But within a month or two after your child is born, if you are really set on having group childcare, absolutely, you would want to do it within a couple of months. The other types of care, the licensed family and registered license not required, your chances are much better at getting a spot earlier.
Right. What are some things that people should be looking for when they're looking at daycare? I'm thinking things like, what are some positive signs of a daycare, and what are some red flags that might exist if you're looking for care?
First and foremost, what I tell parents when they're looking for childcare in the first place is to know the temperament of your child, because licensed group care may be what you as a parent are wanting, but may be extremely overwhelming for your child if they're very anxious or shy in large groups. So really know the temperament of your child first, then move on to the different types of care. And because your child may be exhibiting signs of anxiety and you think it's the care provider, when really it's the environment. So you have to know the temperament of your child first, is what I would say.
I think it's definitely good to look at all 3 forms of care just to see which one you think might be best suited to your child. But as Erin said, it's good to know what the temperament of your child is. So if you have the opportunity to visit each type of a facility with your child, I think that can help. There are more spaces in licensed family daycare than there are in group. So when it comes to wait lists, family daycares may not tend to take a wait list. So it's easier to put your name, if they have one, to put your name on a wait list. But oftentimes they may not know that far in advance if they're going to have a space available.
Yeah, if a lot of parents like to be able to drop into their daycare unannounced. And so if your care provider is wholeheartedly against that, then you might question why. And that would be a question you would ask them, because maybe it's as simple as you don't want parents dropping in during nap time or those really hard transition times. So it might not be a red flag, but just open a conversation with the care provider about why they have that policy.
When it comes to wait lists, I'm curious, how do you stay on a wait list, and how do you know that you're on it? When I signed up for daycare for my child, I don't know. I think I signed up for maybe half a dozen places, and I've been offered spaces in the 3 of those daycares, and my child's now 4 years old. I don't know what happened with the other 3 places.
So people will put their name on a wait list and sometimes just automatically think that they'll have a space available, but that's not the case. So a wait list can vary amongst each type of facility and each type of program. If you do have your name on a wait list, it's good to contact them frequently to see where you are on the wait list. And it shows that you're interested in that site. So a lot of wait lists can be long, but I find I used to work in a group center and that was part of my job. I would contact those people on a wait list. So I was always interested in the people that contacted me because I knew that they were interested in a space.
So you just need to be proactive, constantly contacting them.
Absolutely. Set a date on your calendar, and that's your day that you call all the daycares that you put your name on a wait list for.
And maybe I stopped caring because I got a spot in a daycare and we're still in the same place that we originally said yes to. So it worked out for me. So I'm not a complete moron. I hope people don't think I'm that. But I would have followed up with those places, but it was funny where sometimes I'd be following up with places and they would say, "Oh no, you're not on the wait list." And I was like, "No, I'm on the wait list. I'm on the wait list." And then they're like, "Oh yes, you are on the wait list. Sorry, we were looking in a different spot." So in terms of my confidence of like, am I actually on the wait list? Yeah. So
there are cases where, say you need care to start in June, but that facility will call you in April because they have a space in April, knowing that they won't have a space in June. So are you interested in taking that space in April? So you actually get that spot, whether you put your child in at that time, but you're paying for that spot from April till June.
Follow up with email too, if you can. And that way you do have kind of a trackable conversation.
The paper trail.
The paper trail, absolutely, of being on the wait list or not.
This is great advice now that I've already gone through the process. But are there options for the military lifestyle to kind of accommodate that? I know that I'm thinking of things like early drop-offs, late pickups, evenings, overnights, weekends. One example I have was a military member came up to me and was asking me about daycare. His partner was a nurse and worked shifts 7 to 7 or something like that. And how do you go about trying to find care, to find those awkward shifts and to accommodate things like that?
That's the unicorn of daycare right there.
The unicorn?
It just
doesn't exist? Is that what you're saying?
It's definitely difficult.
Very difficult to find those late evenings or weekends. In licensed care, that's a very difficult scenario to try and find for sure. And especially if you've moved out to Sooke or West Shore, because your commute time is that much longer already to get into town and then back out to Sooke or the West Shore. It'll be very difficult to find that type of care. You may need multiple care providers for that kind of a scenario.
Right. So you just need to be creative, right? And maybe tap into whatever you can get. It might just be, you might have a solution, but you might also have a second one to kind of fill the gap.
It definitely is difficult. With the Victoria Child Care Resource and Referral Program, we can do a specific search for early opening or late closing. We can do a search for evening care or weekend care, but there isn't anybody that offers overnight care. It's very hard to get a license for overnight care. So as Erin had said, you may find that in informal care, somebody who's not licensed or a friend or something to offer that type of care, but it's difficult to find.
And what does someone have to do to become a child care provider? Is there sometimes, if nowadays it seems like people will be like, "Hey, I got a kid, come on over." Is that?
It depends on what kind of childcare provider you would like to be. To do daycare in your home, the law in British Columbia is that you can care for 2 children in addition to your own without any license or being registered. But if you want that extra support, if you want more than 2 children in your care, then you would have to become a licensed family daycare provider. If you're only looking for a couple of kids to, have some play date time with your own children that you have at home, then you could become registered and you would contact either Victoria CCRR or the Sooke West Shore, and we would help you through the process to become registered.
Well, with a licensed family daycare, it's not our mandate to follow up with that. So they would have to contact the Atlant Health Authority. And if they're licensed, they can take up to 7 children in their home. And if they have children of their own under 12 years, they're included in that 7. So there is age breakdowns within the 7. So they can't take 7 babies. Like there's age breakdown within the numbers of ages that they can take within the 7.
The cost of daycare, obviously, daycare is not cheap, or childcare is not cheap. So what would we say are the costs that people could expect? And are there ways to bring that cost down?
The cost of childcare can vary quite a bit based on the different types of care that you choose. And it also depends on the age of your child. The younger your child is, the more expensive the type of care would be. So if you were looking at wanting to put your child that is an infant into a licensed group center, you could look at spending anywhere from about $1,000 up to $1,200 to $1,500 a month for that space. There are some new government initiatives that have been put out that can help reduce that fee if the care provider has opted into that program.
Yes, that can definitely take off a few $100 on the cost, which is great. It'll still be expensive, but it'll be less expensive, which is, I mean, who's going to say no to that?
Yeah.
And there are also, I think, I can't remember even what the title of it is like the child care benefit, or is that affordable childcare? Sorry, I'm butchering this.
No, you've got it. The affordable childcare benefit, which previously was called childcare subsidy. So yes, there is that in place as well, which helps keep the cost down for parents. And they have increased the amount that parents will be eligible for. So the maximum amount is $111,000, which is a huge increase.
Yeah, that's your
income
threshold.
Yeah. There's a calculator I think you can plunk your numbers into and see what you're going to. You spin the wheel, see what you're going to get.
It's a really good estimator, actually. So you can put in whether you work full-time or part-time, what your annual income is, what type of care you want, whether it's licensed group or licensed family or even preschool program or school age care. And it will estimate a close estimate to what you would be eligible to receive through the affordable childcare benefit. Yeah,
and I know people who've gotten care for their 12-month-old child, and they were saying, "Oh yeah, cost of daycare is not that bad." It's like, what? But yeah, they had the fee reduction initiative, they had the affordable childcare benefit, and yeah, not spend as much money as you thought you maybe were going to spend in childcare, because to have childcare, a lot of people would definitely think, I need to have 2 people in our household earning a living, making good money. And if you're a military member, you're probably going to be making good money. And in order to be able to afford just to live in Victoria, it's the cost of housing could be quite expensive. And then, yeah, add childcare onto that. That can be a huge stress on people.
Absolutely. There's been a lot of initiatives put out recently that have definitely made a difference for families. Just your average family that didn't qualify for the affordable childcare benefit before now are. And so it's definitely taking that stress off the plate of people trying to get back to work.
Is there anything else you would mention with people looking for care, especially if they were connected with the military, that you would recommend?
I would say be open. I myself had 2 children, and I thought I was dead set I would only ever put my child in a licensed group center. And quickly it became obvious that that was going to be a difficult feat. So I did go look at other things, and my children had the most amazing experiences with licensed family care. And so be open to trying a different type of care, visit a lot of different places, and you'll know it when you get there. It'll feel right for you.
Earlier, you had asked about questions regarding childcare, like things to look at and what to consider. And on our website, through the Victoria Childcare Resource and Referral, you can find all that information on there. So it has questions that you can ask the childcare providers. It gives the information on the fees, how much childcare providers are charging. And if you are interested in offering care in your own home as a registered licensed not required childcare provider, we can assist you in that as well.
All right. Are there any other resources that people might want other than obviously your organization is a resource, but is there anything else that people could tap into?
There is also the government website that they can tap into, and they do have referral on there as well. They don't maybe have as many listings on there as you may find through your local CCRR, but you can also access a licensing list through the Island Health Authority as well. And that is a list of all the licensed daycares from Port Renfrew to the Gulf Islands.
When it comes to other resources, I know that sometimes there are Facebook groups dedicated to things, childcare in Greater Victoria. I've heard that one. Childcare providers and networking group is another one. I guess you can find solutions anywhere. Is that correct?
You can. I would caution people over the internet because we all know that people's experiences may be different than what you would. And I would caution about that. All the care providers that would be on our referral lists meet all the standards and requirements throughout the province. And so you know that you can trust that there is someone overlooking those particular daycares that are on our referral list. When you go to the internet and just go from mommy down the streets experience, they may not have the full picture.
So would you say that the childcare resource and referral, anything listed on that database, people could have confidence in that?
It meets the minimum standard of care throughout the province. Yeah. So what that entails is criminal record check, first aid certificate, home and safety inspections, whether it's in a home or a licensed group facility, references.
For registered licensed not required care providers, they are required to attend professional development opportunities, a minimum of 2 workshops a year. So you know they're pursuing education throughout their daycare experiences. There is a requirement for licensed folks as well to have some professional development off the start. So you can have confidence in that as well.
Well, thank you very much for coming and speaking to us about this topic. I'm not sure if we really provide a lot of assistance to military families other than
call us. Check the government website.
Check our websites out.
Sign up early.
Sign up early. Yeah. If you have any questions, we have an open door policy, so we love to see people come into our office, and we're happy to assist you that way as well.
All right. Well, thank you for coming, Erin, Lisa.
Thank you.
Before finishing up, I wanted to talk with Kelly Acoyne. She's the Children's Services Coordinator here at the Military Family Resource Center. So, Kelly, what do you recommend to military families? Give us your perspective.
I would recommend military families and their childcare search here in Greater Victoria, being that it's very, very tight, wait lists are long, that they can't rule out any childcare option. A lot of families sort of enter into this idea that they want their child in a center, specifically the Military Family Resource Center daycare, because we do specialize in caring for military children. And I understand that need and want for your child. But don't rule anything out. There are great childcare providers out there doing in-home daycares, centers that have different philosophies, and don't rule out where you're going to get your information from about where the openings are. So reach out to those Facebook groups. Specifically here, there's one called the Esquimalt Military Families page. It's a Facebook group. People often post on there. We've just been posted to Victoria. I've decided to stay home with my child and not work, but willing to take in 1 or 2 other children. So don't rule out those options. Go meet those people, find out what they're about. I think there's great childcare providers out there. They're just maybe not doing it in a center. And you might have to consider those options where you thought you might not have before. Yeah, reaching out to those social networking groups. I think there's all kinds of great information out there. And certainly I can help connect you with those groups. I've sent those links out to people too. Keep in touch with everyone. If you've put your child on a wait list, then reconnect with that center. See where they are with the wait list. Make sure that they know you're still interested and still looking. So it's a process and it's a project, and you have to be quite diligent about it.
You can learn more about the Child Care Resource and Referral at childcarevictoria.org. If you need additional assistance, you can contact us at the Military Family Resource Center by calling 1-800-353-3329.
Thank you for listening to this episode of The Military Lifestyle. To learn more about this episode and to check out our other resources like the deployment app, go to esquimalt.mfrc.com. A special thanks to True Patriot Love Foundation for funding Season 1 of this podcast, and to Organized Sound Productions for bringing our idea to life. Please share this podcast with your military family or with someone living the lifestyle. Subscribe to The Military Lifestyle on your favorite podcast app. Your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you for listening.